Good morning. This is the entrance to Hampton Court Garden Festival, as it's now called.
Welcome to another episode of Toby Stupid Vlog,
AKA formerly known as Hampton Court Flower Show, which is where we are going today. It's very warm but very grey. It's actually perfect for walking around. So it's just as busy as it was last year, if not slightly more so, because everyone isn't cramped around the screens watching England at the World Cup. So yeah, still very nice though. A very warm day. Got a living roof. Yeah, look. It's nice. Welcome to another airport. This is Heathrow Terminal 5, obviously. This is my flight out to Dublin shortly. This will be my 19th flight of the last 12 months. It's getting a bit silly now. Airports are becoming... Well, how can I put it? I used to find them really boring. Now I almost don't notice I'm in them. So I'm desperately trying to buy time, because I was going to stay at home a bit longer, but I was bored there, so I thought I might as well come and be bored here. So that's how things are panning out so far. But when I get to Dublin, things should get interesting, hopefully. One very short flight later, here we are at Dublin Airport. Hello, Dublin. Right, now I need bags, I need a cab, and I need to get to town before the bank closes. Have you ever been to a bank that has cannons? Didn't think so. This is the original Bank of Ireland and the old Parliament building, where I just had a fantastic tour from the buildings manager to tell me all about it. And this is quite fascinating. I'm not quite sure how I get out of here. I'll have to... Give me a moment. This over here is Trinity College, which I now need to go to so I can check in and then we can reconvene. But if we just step over here for a moment, you can see the Bank of Ireland in all its glory, and you can understand how this was a Parliament building, although this wouldn't have been the facade at the time. But it's very grand and very impressive, and weird to be linked to such an enormous establishment that I've never seen before. And it feels very special somehow. Family history is fascinating like that, when you discover something, a link that you didn't know was there, that is so monumental. So this is the inner court of Trinity College, very impressive. It was fascinating to see like a room named after my family with 3 portraits of people who were born in the 1700s, so I've never even put a face to, but who were so important to that bank and actually reasonably significant in sort of Dublin hierarchy, as it were, at the time. Yeah, fascinating. And they all went to university here. Let me give you a guided tour of the venue. Here we have the bathroom shower facilities. That is room number 2, which I cannot get into because my key will only let me into room number 1. Here is the kitchen area. Quite astounding. Has an amazing view into the quad. This is New Square. These look like some very old oriental plane trees, very knobbly and gnarly. And that is 36, where I'm staying on the first floor. This ridiculously magnificent Venetian style building over here is slightly insane. It's quite warm, actually. It's very muggy indeed. It's so weird to be in Trinity College. A lot of my family have been to this university over the last 300 years, including some of my generation on the other side, actually. Anne-Marie and Colm both came here and did their studies, and they're the Kenyan part of the family. It's kind of nice to... It never occurred to me that I could go and study in Dublin. I don't think I ever fully thought it through, to be honest. I don't even know if they do the kind of degrees I would have been applying for, but anyway. Here I am finally in a student hall of accommodation, so I've got really, living the dream. The full Dolier lifestyle, or as the Irish call it, Dolier, as in Dolier Street and various Jeremiah Dolier and what have you, Governor of the Bank of Ireland, but that's the Irish lilt, as it were. Right, I'm gonna go for a little wander around Dublin. This is Weir & Sons. It's one of the oldest jewellers, gold and silversmiths, you may say, in Ireland. It would have been around about the same time as my family were running a goldsmiths in a location that I'll show you shortly. This is Grafton Street, which is like one of the main shopping streets. It's very intense. It's exactly what you'd expect in the middle of, capital city in Europe, so it's good. I'm going to drop some things back at the flat, and then I'm going to see if I can show you just a couple of things. I don't think I'm going to get to the old jewellers tonight, but you never know, because I'm probably going out for dinner in like an hour or so, but we may get lucky with a bit of high-speed shenanigans. So let's see. There's also buskers every like 50 metres. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. Na gaba ana faki led thoil. Yeah, so stop it. So this is Dolier Street, one of only 2 roads in the world named after my family. The other one is, and I kid you not, is literally a road in a trailer park in Canada, and we don't know how that got its name. This one we do, because it was named after Jeremiah, because he was one of the founding members and the governor of the Bank of Ireland. This is where the Irish Times used to be based, and where the Irish Aviation Authority now is, who've granted me my Irish drone licence, so that's exciting. This is the amazing old 1930s Art Deco gas building being obstructed by every single blue and yellow bus in Dublin, but it does say gas very distinctly. And Dolier Street is very short, and it ends when you get to the river. If you know Dublin, you're trying to get your bearings, that is, I believe, the O'Connell Bridge. So that's the whole of Dolier Street, all the way down. Dolier Chambers is that fancy brick looking building on the end. Not quite sure what it was built as, but it has been several restaurants over the years. And obviously there's a pub on this corner and there's a sports bar on that corner because, you know, Dublin. This is Parliament Street, so called because the new Irish Parliament was established just up here, Cork Hill. And this is where my direct ancestor Richard Dollier ran his gold and silversmiths. Now, we don't know what number, but and also the numbers have probably changed a lot, but somewhere, I'm trying to see how old these buildings are. Most of them are probably old enough. So it could be any one of these. But initially, the family business, which he split from to run his own silversmiths, was on Dame Street, which is this road we're reaching here. Number 87 Dame Street was Isaac Dollier and Sons gold and silversmiths, and the reason I so badly wanted to get a bit of Irish silver for so long. So this is Cork Hill, which is there, which was on his banknote, as it were, and as far as I can tell they were at number 87, which would have been about here. Although, confusingly, this stopped being Dame Street now further up, so they're no longer numbered the same way. But it would have been around here, opposite where they put the Irish Parliament. Very prominent location to be. This is 81, as you can see, the oak. So it would have been on this side of the road, as it was an odd number. And this is where they would have traded from. And one of the reasons that my friend at the Bank of Ireland was telling me that gold and silversmiths got into banking was because they had a safe, and it was as simple as that. And if you wanted to store money with people, the proto-banking era, the most sensible place to go was a gold and silversmiths, because they were used to storing valuable things and locking them away. And that's why a lot of them ended up being bankers of some sort. So there we go. There's a bit of family history. There's more to come, because this city is quite important to my family. And I would say that if you have history associated with your family in any way, it's fascinating to go to a place that they would have lived and try and imagine the life they could have lived in that place and how you may have ended up there were it not for a twist of fate. So I always find it interesting. In Dublin, it's been fascinating so far. In Berlin, it's always fascinating for me. Even in south of France. And it's a good excuse, really, to go and visit a place like you need one, but it's a great excuse to go there.
No, I really like this.
Quite an impressive and imposing university to come into. It's very old. I don't know if I mentioned, it's one of the oldest universities that was formed in the United Kingdom, I should say. It's like 1590 or something crazy. So, there's not many older. Oxford, Cambridge, a couple of the Scottish universities, and then this. That's some swankiness, isn't it? Yeah. No, I didn't.
It is amazing, the lighting.
That's quite an impressive space. Right, let's go and find James and Amy. I've just had dinner, and you saw the venue for tomorrow. That was where we had dinner tonight. It was very good. And the venue is the First Republic of Ireland Parliament, or the First Irish Republic Parliament. It wasn't technically a full republic at that point because it hadn't got its independence, but 1919 is when they assembled it. So it's another interesting historical building. Anyway, enough of that. Beer. morning. We're off to Fire restaurant via other restaurants. It's 8:25, as you can see. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. I'm quite hungry.
Everybody takes
I'm in.
Good wiggling. Oh yeah, that was nice.
Cuts very easily. Really? If that's not food porn, I don't know what is.
Some of them, for example, from a cabin who works with the homeless and so on. So I think it's very opportunity.
So this is 1919 in this very building, when the Irish declared independence. Wasn't formally granted until 1922, but this is the room that it all happened in. This is Mansion House. So it's historically rather an impressive location to be having an event. It's 100 years since that declaration as well, so a really interesting year to be here. So we're getting plenty of Irish history, and the room we got in last night was the Mayor's banqueting hall, which I can show you again because it's just through here on the right. There it is. Oh, I've just had to come outside to get away from the steak. But it's very nice. Generally, Dublin, from what I've seen. So tomorrow we get to go and see a bit more of Ireland. So that should be interesting. Around the countryside, road trip. Looking forward to that. So here's the Huguenot ceremony, which is the graveyard where all the Huguenots buried. And all the names are on the wall. This is Bagot Street, which is actually divided into two, both lower and upper. And my family lived at number 18, but I think they've renumbered it since many times because they divided it into an upper and a lower. But broadly speaking, if you come down here, you'll see the old Georgian terraces, which are a bit more of the era at the very least. Number 18 is now up here on the left. I think it is here. And then a couple of the daughters ended up living at 118 once they married, which is a bit further down on the right. Last steaks of the day are being tasted.
How much have you used in it? Just your face?
just your face.
This close.
The making of an Instagram.
It actually makes a noise as well.
Yeah. I mean, You're gonna hate that. Right.
Hold on, I can't get my balance.
Right, hang on. How much of this am I meant to get in?
It's just meant to be like me in it and
Oh, like just like natural. Like totally natural.
work it.
Yes, yes, baby. Yeah. And me. It's very small.
These ones are small. Those ones are far away.
He has to bring up the fact that I'm small every single day.
I don't.
Well, you're standing next to a massive obelisk.
That's why,
Like,
no, I mean,
there's,
genuinely, look at it.
there's no way that you could look anything other than tiny standing next to that. Late night Grafton Street. Alright, I'm going back to bed because I have to be up early to go on this farm tour. And I'll left the others to go and have another drink because they should really, because they don't have to be up super early. They get to do tomorrow's their tourist day, but I've kind of done that because I arrived early on Monday and I leave late on Thursday, so I'm living the dream. So I'm going back to Trinity, get some kip and be ready for the morning. I just met the most hilariously friendly gateman, asking him questions about going out this way tomorrow morning to get on the bus. What I would say is my experience so far has taught me that the people of Dublin, and I guess the Irish more generally, are ridiculously friendly, like almost comedically so, almost as the sort of stereotype would lead you to believe. They all want to talk to you, they've got nothing but nice things to say. They swear like sailors, but that's very casual and there's no malice. So at the judging today, there's a guy there in a nice suit, and he'd been judging for 8 hours, very seriously, writing down his scores and what have you. And as he was about to leave, he went past the fruit bowl and he turns to me and goes, "You know what? I think I'll have a fucking orange." And that gives you some idea of the general colloquialisms. Anyhow, gate dude wanted to know exactly where I was from in London, and then proceeded to give me almost the postcodes of his whole family in England, and then talk about potential holiday destinations. It seems ridiculous, but it's so charming. So anyway, now I really am going to bed. This is the Nolan family abattoir, butchery and shop. So we're just getting a tour around. Nolans of Kilcullen, and just about to go and have a wander.
So we have Dexter organic beef with a beef burger with a lot of the, and you'll see there's an excellent walled garden. A lot of the vegetables are for farmers that are in the scheme do get a premium price for the beef, which is a good driver for us. Just as we are, the farmers just here, and you can see on the left hand side, that's one of the winter feeds that has been used, fodder beet. Some of you, it's closely related to the sugar beet.
So we're on the farm, we're in the field, we're going to go and have a look at some cows. They appear to be at least partly a Emmentaler cross, as you can tell, colouring. engaged, so we're still in the field with the cows and their calves. And in a moment we're going to get back on the bus, which you might be able to see up at the house there, and we're going to go to a restaurant somewhere nearby and eat some more beef because you know, it's that kind of week. And then we go to a brewery this afternoon, and from there we head back to Dublin for the awards tonight.
Oh dear, oh dear. Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And then you would have had parts of it where you would have had the orange tree and you would have had everything. The chef, anybody know what this is? I've been a wild rover for many's a year, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer. And now I'm returning with gold in great store, and I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more.
Muscles of barley.
Bottom jar, there's a bit of yeast in them. If it starts to look a little bit cloudy, just start in the bottom. How's your wife and your wife? I've got 3 kids, they can help me take it.
Back for the awards. Finland were victorious again, and now we're taking a lot of photos of people holding awards and steaks occasionally. Hi.
I haven't had a steak.
Me neither. And here is the room of steak. It's about a third of the people have left now, and they're just currently cooking the winning steak, so that everyone can have a taste of it. And in the meantime, they're cycling through some of the winners on the board. Those aren't the big ones, I'll show you the big ones. But there was, I think, 25 countries, 4 continents entered, 315 different cuts.
I'm going to hold the pose.
Okay,
Jump up.
yeah,
I don't know if this is going to work.
Is it not going to work?
go on.
Now?
Yeah. Good morning. It's time to check out of my room with an amazing view. Hall living is for people younger than me. That's all I'll say. But we're all done. James and Amy left this morning at like 5 a.m. I'm so glad I didn't. And I'm going to go and get some breakfast and, you know, see the world, and then go back to London and have 3 board meetings. Right, let's go. It doesn't really get old as a view. I mean, it is literally old as a view, but it's very impressive. This is the oldest bit. And this was here on the map I found at Trinity in 1770s, but I mean it dates from 1592, so it's a fair bit older than that. So just going for a little walk along the Liffey, which is this here river, and find somewhere to have breakfast. Go and pick up my ring from the jewellers, maybe pop into the bank, and then go back to the airport. So that's the order of business this morning. This afternoon will involve sitting on a plane, getting off a plane, getting in a cab, going to an office, sitting in an office, leaving the office and going and sitting in a restaurant. So this is a statue of Molly Malone, and you might know her from the song. It involves singing Cockles and Muffles a lot, and Alive Alive-O. And in the song she is a retailer on the street. She sells cockles and mussels, obviously, and unrequited love and all the usual shenanigans. Not very close to the truth, unfortunately. As far as history tells, she wasn't a retailer of products as these. She was more of a lady of the night. So there we go. Just as I'm leaving, of course, the weather's now amazing, which is pretty standard. It's basically a tropical climate in Dublin, certainly in the summer. Super hot, then it pours with rain, massively humid, and it resets. This is Terminal 5 baggage arrivals, which I'm sure I've filmed before. By the time I'm here, I'm usually fed up. But as it turns out, it's ever so easy to go to and from Dublin. So I'm still in a good mood, but I do have a meeting to get to in Teddington, which rather relies on the bags appearing on the carousel in the next 5 minutes. So that's not at all problematic. Or else it'll be a very expensive cab at high speed. Hello, it is I, back from the future, to do a word of the week, because I think I must have been exhausted on the Friday because there was no sign-off. I could have sworn I recorded something. There was no sign-off, no word of the week, just nothing. I filmed nothing. I don't even know what I did. Maybe nothing. Anyway, so this week's word of the week, because I was in Ireland for World Steak Challenge, is going to be steak. The steak is the word of the week. This could come in useful if you are not vegan and you go out to restaurants. So, first of all, in German, the steak is das Steak. Das Steak is steak in German. In Italian, it's also reasonably straightforward. It's la bistecca. La bistecca is Italian for the steak. So there we go, that was steak in German and Italian, and that was this week's word of the week. Thank you for watching. It's been a very long vlog. I won't hold you up any further. If you want to see next week's, then the easiest way to do that is subscribe and hit the notify button. I'll see you then. Bye.
Toby